Hello and welcome to the Afrocentric Woman. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and liking the video and all that jazz. I recorded a video earlier today while I was doing my makeup. I was getting ready to go to an event um, at a country club, and I was just really focused on my makeup. I was talking to y'all, but I was focused on my makeup and I wasn't looking in the comments, and you ladies let me know that the audio was terrible. It was in and out. You could not hear me. So I unlisted that video and I'm recording this video, and I'm going to try to recap everything that I was talking about in the last video to the best of my ability. But I realized that I never told y'all about maybe 2 weeks ago or so, I got stood up. And that is like the first time that has happened in um I don't think I've ever been stood up before. I can't remember a time. I mean, if it happened, I don't remember. It's been so long, but I don't think I've ever been stood up until 2 weeks ago. So let me I'll kind of try to go through that as quickly as possible. I recorded a video telling you about it, but I didn't go live. I just recorded the video, and I was thinking I would go back and kind of edit it a little bit and then post it, but no, I didn't do I didn't do that. So anyway, do y'all remember me telling you about the attorney guy that looked really, really good on paper? So he invited me out to dinner um like about 2 weeks ago, and he made reservations at a really nice restaurant. He picked it. He picked the restaurant. He suggested a time and a date, and we were on the same page about that. He contacted me throughout the week, multiple times asking me if I was going to be able to come. Like, are you sure you're going to be able to make it? Are we still on for this weekend? Um, you know, and then the day of, I think he checked in with me 2 or 3 times, like the day of. So I get to the restaurant. He I get there before him. And I wanted to get there before him anyway because I wanted to tell the bartender to pour me all like virgin drinks. I wanted to like order alcoholic drinks but just pretend that I was drinking alcohol. I actually didn't want any alcohol. So I wanted to get to the restaurant earlier than him so I could talk to the wait staff and the bartender to let them know don't put alcohol in my drinks. So I was there early, and they were like, "Oh, your other party's in here." I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." So I started doing my rounds. I go to the bathroom, and I was gonna text him to tell him um, what kind of dress I had on, and or that I would be sitting at the bar. And he had unmatched me. So my heart kind of sunk to my bottom of my chest because I kind of knew, I knew what was up. Like he unmatched me and he's not here. And, so it is what it is. So I was like, oh gosh, I'm getting stood up. Oh, I'm like, well, I'm not going to allow myself to be sad about this because I have childcare and I'm all dressed beautifully and I'm going to make the best of tonight. So I go to the bar because technically it wasn't 8. I think we were supposed to meet at, I think our reservation was like at 8:30. So technically it wasn't 8:30. So I figured I would give him the benefit of the doubt, even though I knew I was getting stood up, but I just was like, well, let me just stay until like 10 minutes after, 8:30. And so I sat at the bar. I had a club soda and just chilled. Everybody was kind of there on dates, so really wasn't any single guys at that particular restaurant. But it was cool. It was a nice environment, very pretty, just very chic type of environment, and it was cool. So I paid for my little drink and I go pick up my car because I Ubered there. I didn't want him like seeing my car. So I Uber back to my car, get my car, and I'm like, I'm going out. I go to a lounge, da 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 da. Let me just try to make this as fast as I can. I meet this guy, he's Caribbean, and, he's talking my head off about everything under the sun, um, and I eventually kinda start tuning him out because he had ordered, I think, like, at least a drink or 2, or at least maybe 2 shots he'd ordered, like, in my presence, and he never asked me what I was drinking or if I would like anything. So after the second one, I just started kind of tuning him out and, like, kind of looking away, like, I'm disengaging, right? So he gets up and, well, I think I ordered food because I hadn't had any food. I was supposed to meet this guy for dinner, right? So I was hungry. I ordered food and I ordered another, glass of champagne. And so he gets up, he just hands me some cash. He was like, "Here you go." He was he was like, "This will cover your food and you keep whatever you keep the rest." I was like, "Oh, thank you." That's more like it, you know? Um, so I started paying attention to him again after he gave me the money. And we were talking and da da da, I ate my food, I drank my drink, and then he had to leave. And I started talking to this white girl that was next to me, but she was kind of drunk. She was like, I don't know, all over the place. I didn't know what she was talking about. So I'm talking to her and I'm scanning the room. I see like it's at least like four groups of guys that are just like groups of guys, right? And so I'm trying to think like where do I want to be? How do I want to play this situation? So I'm just thinking and thinking and thinking. So this this group, like this particular lounge, like it's like sections and it's also like you could do like a tabletop and they have two bars. Um, well, they have two, well, really three. Anyway, so there's these people in the section and they had ordered bottle service. And I don't know what happened, but it tipped over. So it's like they ordered a bottle of, I don't know, some type of champagne or something, and it's in this like bucket in a stand. And so somebody kicked the bucket over, ice goes flying, bottle goes flying, champagne goes flying, all over the floor. And so I kind of like jump out of the way. So when I'm doing that, I kind of like jump towards these Middle Eastern guys. And I was like, oh my gosh, because there was like water where I was standing slash sitting. And I was like, can I sit here? Because I had a good excuse, right? There's water everywhere. He was like, absolutely. He got out of his chair. He's like, no, you take my chair. You take this chair. So blah, blah, blah. I ended up hanging out with them. Da, 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 da. They took care of my stuff. We went somewhere else. They took care of all my stuff. Da, 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 da. I met this Mexican guy that was traveling, visiting. Um, he owned some company out there. So I ended up hanging out with them. Anyway, let's just say I came out on the positive. Okay. I came out on the positive and I refused to let the standing up situation ruin my night. Like the Mexican guy texts me like every other day. So he still keeps in touch with me. The Middle Eastern guys wanted me to go out like that next day. I was pooped. Like I'm not about that life. Like I was out all night. I can't do that twice in a row. I was exhausted. So when he hit me up about the next day, or no, maybe that was like 2 days later. That might have been like 2 days later because I think I hung out with the Mexican guy like the next day. He blew up my phone all day long. I was tired and I wasn't even sure I wanted to go out. He literally blew up my phone all day until I finally responded to him. He really wanted to take me out. He wanted to see me again before he left town. Moral of the story is this. Don't let anybody ruin your night and make the best of it. You just never know what can happen when you start mingling, and you just put yourself out there, schmooze and all that. You never know. You never know. I ended up having a great night and I ended up coming out in the green, not in the red. Um, the other thing, okay, so why that guy stood me up? I think he stood me up because we had plans for like a week or two before that one, right? And that was like a Saturday night dinner, right? So I think I talked to y'all about this when I was saying that I don't want to get a babysitter for a guy I really don't know. So I had already like reserved a babysitter. It was a Saturday night, which of course I reserved for high rollers. And he he contacted me like that Friday, wanting me to go to his house. And I was like, no, I'm going to see you tomorrow. I'm just getting to know you. I'm sure eventually I will visit you at home and get to see your house, but, not right now. And he really did. He was just kind of whining and acting very like kind of bratty about it. I think I let a lot of things slide because he looks so good on paper. The law firm that he works for is very prestigious. And it's like pharmaceutical law. So y'all know I love pharmaceuticals, okay? There's always money involved with pharmaceuticals, okay? So I love guys that are in the pharmaceutical industry or somehow involved. And so he does like he litigates for pharmaceutical companies. So lots of shmoney, and I feel like I let a lot of things slide because he looks so good on paper and all like the assets and stuff like that checked out. But I think he was acting like whiny and bratty about it, and he wanted to meet me like right away. Hold on, y'all. Okay, I'm back. Um, so he wanted to meet me right away, and I just wasn't available, and I wasn't going to inconvenience myself for him. I wasn't going to like go out of my way. I just didn't want to do that. So randomly, one of my babysitters who's more on the affordable side, she's in college and she was home on her Thanksgiving break. And so she hit me up and she's like, hey, I really would love to see y'all. I'd love to see your daughter before I go back to school. And da 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 da. If you need me, I'm here, da da da. So I was like, okay, well, that's random. I wasn't expecting to hear from her. My daughter would love to see her. She probably needs a little cash to go back to school. So I was like, okay, fine. I'll let her come one day. And he's been asking me out like on a date. So I will go ahead and just have her come and I'll meet him out. But I think it was he wanted like more conversation, and I think he wanted um what was I about to say? Gosh, I lost my train of thought. He wanted, yeah, he wanted like a quicker turnaround. He wanted a quicker turnaround. And of course, initially he wanted me to go to his house. So I think he's just very narcissistic and he probably felt slighted that I wasn't doing what he wanted me to do. And so he wanted to try to somehow punish me by making this date with me and purposefully confirming with me multiple times and then ultimately not coming. I mean, it was very deliberate. It was deliberate and it was like, I don't know if you've ever dealt with really narky people, but they're very vindictive and um, you know, that's the best way I could. They're very vindictive and they like to just try to punish you if you hurt their ego. If you bruise their ego, they will try to punish you. So that's that. That's why I think he did what he did. But at the end of the day, I came out on top. I got some really great contacts. If I ever go to Mexico City, I'll be taken care of. If I ever want to go to the certain countries in the Middle East, I can do that too. I'm good. So it's all good. It was a great night. I came out in the green. Okay. Not only did I have my babysitter money, I had money for shopping and other things. So it's all good. It's all good. Okay, so that was the bad date. Let me tell you about the good date. So, recently I went out I went out on a date with a really nice guy. He took me to a steakhouse. He picked the restaurant. He made the reservation. We had a conversation. It was a good conversation, positive. Like before, I would agree to go out on a date with him. Um, the day of our date, earlier that day, I had a conference in my industry and it was all day. And I was so exhausted. I was just so exhausted from just being on and just being on all that time. And I was like, gosh, I really kind of like low key don't want to go on this date, but I already agreed to go on the date. And hold on, y'all. Okay, I'm back. Um, what was I saying about? Gosh, what was I saying about him? Um, oh, I was exhausted. Yeah, I was exhausted. So I really was like, gosh, I don't want to go, but I'm gonna go. So I just rallied, and got dressed. And um, I'm so glad that I went out. I'm so glad that I went out. My daughter had an activity already planned, for the evening, so it all worked out. I was so glad. He was very nice, very gentlemanly. Was very keen on me ordering whatever I wanted. Like I said, he's the one that picked that expensive steakhouse. It was him. And he bragged a lot about various financial things. It can be a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is that the good part about that is that he is trying to impress me and he feels as though money is the way to impress me. So he wants to make sure that I know he has a lot of it. Um, he also told me something that he did for one of his employees and, things he was doing for his kids. So I also feel like he wanted me to know that he was generous and giving. And you best believe I'm definitely taking mental notes and I'm definitely listening. Now, when guys brag about their money and I don't have any in my hand, I I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm more neutral. I try to have a neutral face when they're bragging about money. I don't really get like happy and giddy until like I get it in my hands. And I'm like, "Oh, then I'm excited. Then I'm, ego stroking and stuff like that." But just telling me about it, it's like, okay, that's fine. But until I get it, I'll see it when I believe it. Pardon me, I'll believe it when I see it. So, so that's that. And then as we were leaving out, he was like, I don't know, where would you like me to take you next? Um, I would want our next date to be really special. And he got my valet ticket and they pulled my car. And it was just really great. So I know we're trying to plan a second date, and that's good. The first date went well. Um, he's not needy at all, which is great. Doesn't like blow up my phone. I've learned I really get along with guys who have their own businesses. I think that guys who have their own businesses are very much so go-getters, and I feel like they're used to making things happen. And I really like that quality about men when they're go-getters and they like to make things happen because it's easier on you as a woman. Um, it's just easier like that. So that's that. Now, with the guy that stood me up, I did not talk to him on the phone, like, or by voice. Lately my app is not allowing me to make calls. I don't know why. I don't know if I need to uninstall the app and reinstall it. I don't know, but it's not making letting me make calls because I usually like to make my calls via the app. So I've just been calling them with my number blocked. And oh, so that guy, the guy who I the guy where I had a good date, I called him, but I called him with my number blocked. He didn't give me a hard time about it. He was like, "Well, I guess when you feel comfortable um to give me your number, you will." And we just carried on talking. He didn't, "What, you don't trust me? What, you I can't have your number? Why can't," he wasn't pushing my boundary. Like my boundary is I don't know you. I'm not giving you my number. I'm calling you with my number blocked. And that's my boundary. And he was like, okay. He's just rolled with it. And we had a great conversation. and decided to meet up for a date. We were coordinating everything on the app. And then, oh, so yeah, so in addition to him asking me out on a second date, he also asked for my phone number, which of course, I gave it to him. Um, so that's that, or at least he has the first layer of number. I have another layer of number. If he can make it past 3 dates, he'll get my real number. Okay, but right now he has the first step number. There's still another barrier to get through. There's still another hurdle to jump to get to that other number. But who knows? Uh he seems to be energetic enough to get through it. So we'll see. We'll see. Um, I think that's it. I think that's all I got. I ain't got no more. I definitely am going to deploy this phone conversation more consistently before accepting a date. The guy who got stood me up, I didn't speak with him by voice. And it's quite possible that, I would not have gotten stood up if I talked by voice. Um, yeah, that's quite possible that I wouldn't, because it's, I don't know. So, and then there was this other guy that I went out with maybe towards the end of the summer, and he was so boring and, oh my gosh, just a hot mess. And I think that if I would have spoke with him by voice, I would have never accepted that date. Um, yeah. So that's an important part of the process for me now, is that phone screening, at least having a conversation or two before accepting a date. And that's about it. Now, one thing that I did ask in the last video that the audio was really bad, is I was asking you ladies if you want to have a night where we just talk about like dating guidelines, because I have mine and they're very tailored for my lifestyle and my comfort level and things like that. And I think that if you are doing leveled up dating, I think you need to develop the guidelines of your own. And I just don't know if you ladies have started that process, or if you're refining a process that you've already created, or do you feel like you know where to get started in terms of creating guidelines for yourself, like just what your process is. Um, of course, that's going to be tailored to what it is that you're trying to achieve. Um, and also who you're trying to interface with. The type of guy that you're trying to interface with. That will also, lead to your help lend to building up your guidelines. So yeah, I just wanted to know if you ladies wanted to dedicate time to that, or if you had any questions about the process, or um, feedback that you might want on your process, just let me know down in the comments and we will go from there. But I'll share mine again. I shared them on my world's page. One day I was on her live, and just it came up and we started talking about it. But I've added to it. I've added to it since then. Just things that are in my head that I'm actually going to put on paper. I do suggest you write it down. It becomes way more real to you when you write it down. Oh, I know another thing I was talking to you ladies about earlier was, like that internal reparenting. So mostly on this channel, I talk about remothering yourself, but as far as like refathering yourself, even if you didn't have a father, it's kind of that like strictness. It's that no deviation. It's by the books, very rigid. It's got to be like this. Like that's what I recommend you do when it comes to your guidelines and your boundaries. Don't make exceptions. Oh, well, he's really cute, so I'll let him come over. Or, oh, he's really tall, so yeah, I'll go Netflix and chill. Or, oh yeah, you know, da 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 da. He said he might, want to make me his girlfriend one day. So yeah, I'll go ahead and da 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 with him before I get da da da. So no, actually just follow your guidelines. Like they're not imposed on you because you're the one making them. Okay? So it's not like anybody's like raining down rules on you. But when you're not in the heat of passion, when you are not infatuated, when you are not, um, tipsy, when you are not any of those things, when you're totally sober and you're totally, in tune with yourself, you really just think what has worked, what has not worked, what has gotten me to where I need to go, gotten me, a few steps ahead, what has set me back, and that will kind of let you know where to start to create your guidelines. So I've talked about a lot of stuff on this channel, and I think it's very heavily dating app centric because that's what I use. So that's what I know best, and that's what I share with you ladies. I do freestyle a little bit. Like for example, the night that I got stood up, I went to go freestyle, and I had a great night. Um, but I don't mostly freestyle. I freestyle a little bit, and I rely heavily on the dating apps because I don't have as much time to freestyle as other ladies might have. So there's that. But for example, if you do freestyle or that's how you mostly meet guys in person, then you are going to write down, for example, in your guidelines, where are the places that you're willing to go to mingle, and write down a list that, try to come up with 20 places. Try to at least come up with 20 places. It could be shorter, but try to come up with 20 places and stick to it. Stick to it. Like don't, if you have time to freestyle, or if you have time to be out and you've taken the time to do your makeup and you've taken the time to look amazing, and then your, ratchet friends from high school that you knew way back when are like, "Oh no, let's go to this hood club over here." Look at your list and ask yourself, is this hood club on my leveled up list of mingling? And if it's not, don't go. You see what I'm saying? It helps make the decision for you because you've already made the decision before you are in like a sticky situation or da 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 da, and you already know the answer is no. I'm not going to the hood club because it's not on my list. Like I'm going to be strategic about what I'm doing, and especially for you ladies who have like a time frame that you're trying to get things done in. You know what I'm saying? Time is of the essence. If you're trying to get things done and you're trying to get it popping, you need to make it every moment count. So you most certainly don't have time to be in the hood club with your ratchet friends from high school. So that's just to give you an idea of, guidelines for your leveled up dating journey that you have to create, your dating process and guidelines that you have to create for yourself. And I would say, like, just kind of like do a brain dump and get them out of your head and then refine it over time and make sure you write it down. Okay, write it down. All right, ladies, thank you so much for listening. Definitely leave your comments below. I'll look forward to chatting with you in the comment section. And y'all have a great day. We'll talk soon, okay? Bye.